Welcome to the Open Wheel Offline League Season 4, race number 3, here at Suzuka for the Japanese Grand Prix. Qualifying happened yesterday. As we get ready, we'll take a look at the field in just a second. We have a lot of interesting placements on where the drivers will line up today. So let's start off in who qualified last, and let's climb up from there. So P24 in qualifying, second in points. That is David Malukas. Won out in the S's twice, and he's going to be starting at the back of the field. Not quite last, but pretty far down. 23rd, Gail Barnhart, going to start alongside with him. 22nd was Ethan Martz. He's going to be moved back a spot. Then 21st, Alessio Deletta. He's actually going to be bringing up the rear. 20th, Mahavira Gunathan. That'll be where he starts. 19th, Marcus Armstrong. Only going to be up 2 spots from there. 18th, Jacob Abel. It's another not very great qualifying effort from him. As 17th, Glubler Lore, who had his brother quite upset at him. 16th, Miles Rowe. He's going to be 1 spot up from there. And then 15th will be Robbie Lore, who is not quite happy. He's your points leader coming into this. He actually got a big boost. Will start 12th. Then 14th, home Grand Prix for Yuki Tsunoda. Not what he wanted in qualifying. As 13th, Stingray Robb, his best qualifying effort of the season thus far. 12th, Lindsey Brewer, made into round 2, will move up 1 spot. And then 11th will be Brendan Hubbard, who also gets his best qualifying effort. P10, Catherine Legg, actually going to move up a few spots, going to start P7. And then 9th was Ryan Preece. He's moved back a good amount, going to be starting 13th, so we're going to have to see what he can do from there. 8th was Chet Jordan. He also gets a big boost. We'll start in 5th. 7th, Connor Zilich. He's going to be down in 8th. If you watch the NASCAR Xfinity series, he didn't do so hot there. Got turned on the last lap. Benjamin Peterson made his first Fast 6 in quite a while. Only got P6 out of it, though. 5th, Callum Ilott. He's going to start up in 4th. So that's a good effort from him. Guy Gagné basically swapped spots with Connor Zilich in terms of qualifying results from Sandown. He's going to be P4, going to start P6. Top 3 are as is, and it's all swindlers of the Immortals. Dorian Pin, Louis Foster, Shane Van Gisbergen. What else can you say besides complete and utter domination? Here is one more look at the field, so you can see exactly where everyone's starting. Going all the way down. So now let's take a look at your weather. So this race taking place April 5th at 2 p.m. 8-mile-per-hour wind speed, 77 degrees. Partly cloudy, 100 degrees track temp, so fairly hot. And now, of course, we should take a look at some qualifying compounds, or your driver compounds. Shane Van Gisbergen going to be running on the hards. Louis Foster on the mediums. Dorian Pin on the soft. So swindlers of the Immortals going different across all 3 cars. Callum Ilott going softs. Chet Jordan on hards. Guy Gagné on softs. Catherine Legg on softs. Connor Zilich on softs. Hubbard on mediums. Peterson on softs. So that is your top 10 in what they are running. A good variation. We're going to have to see how long the softs can hold on. We're looking at about 1 pit stop, hopefully. 2 would not be ideal, as Shane Van Gisbergen gets ready to lead us off. He's going to be on the medium, so we're going to have to see... Or sorry, he's on the hard, so he's not going to be as fast, but is going to be able to last longer. This is different from what he did at Sandown. Started on the softs. pit early, and that definitely affected his final result when the yellow for Ryan Preece, Connor Zilic, and Miles Rowe came out, the second yellow. "25 laps. That'll be quite interesting to see what they can do here. See your track map. Notable features: the S's, the crossover, or just over-under if you want to call that, the spoon, and you have a very fast turn 1 where it's going to funnel down into turn 2. Shane Van Gisbergen going to be on the inside. He's going to lead us into the chicane. And then after this, we'll get ready to go. "25 laps here at Suzuka. Through the final turn, pace car is off. And Van Gisbergen's going to get a good jump to lead us to green at the Japanese Grand Prix. Cars spreading out in the back. Look at Kalamila all the way over to try to cover off potential threat from Chet Jordan. Single file now for the first few cars. Dorian Pin in second, Foster in third, Kalamila at fourth, and then Chet Jordan in fifth. All clean so far. You've got some battling teammates, Ryan Preece and Robbie Lohr. Robbie did not start where he wanted to. He's trying to move forward, but his teammate Preece is going to make that difficult as Dorian Pin jumps Louis Foster. And Pin's going to be second after a good start. Through the hairpin for the first time. And Dorian Pin going to be on the sauce, going to be really fast trying to chase down Van Gisbergen. It's going to be right on him going into the spoon. As now the tower set up, Dorian Pin looking on the inside of Van Gisbergen, can't quite get there. Van Gisbergen on the hards, and he's going to have everyone stacked up behind him if he can't find more pace on him. Nobody moved up more than one spot at the start, but Dorian Pin looking to the inside. Don't want to make contact with your teammate. Side by side now, will she have the pace? No, it looks like Van Gisbergen is going to be able to cover her off. But already side by side for the lead. Elbows are out. Through VS's. Now up towards Degner. Degner 1, Degner 2, now heading down towards the hairpin. This could be a trouble spot. Just due to how much you really have to throw it in there. Everyone funneling through nicely. Dorian Pin on the back of Van Gisbergen. Shane's really going to need to find more speed if he wants to stay ahead. But right now, Swindlers of the Immortals once again running 1, 2, 3. This did not pay out at Sandown. Pin all over the back. Gonna try to go to the inside. Can't quite get there. Needs to move fast before that soft tire degrades. Gonna be right on him once again. Now down towards turn 1. Not close enough, and she's gonna be covered off. Foster tried looking up the inside. Couldn't quite find anything. At the back, Marcus Armstrong kind of holding up a pack here. That's down in 16th. As some of the field falling behind. Everyone is about where they started, besides a few position swaps. Obviously, Dorian Pin jumped Louis Foster. Preece and Robbie switched. Armstrong and Sonoda switched, and then Abel and Globler switched. And that's all the passes as Van Gisbergen didn't look so good for the hairpin. As Dorian Pin is now hunting him down. Really got to try to make a move fast before time runs out on these tires. Stay in the draft and then hope to get a good line. No attempt going to be made as Peterson and Brewer both get by Hubbard in one corner. So he's going to drop down to 11th from 9th. They'll lose a few spots. Dorian Pin now looking on the way out there, on the outside. Not going to work. As in the back, Jacob Abel passes Yuki Tsunoda. Tsunoda will drop to 18th. As Dorian Pin not following as good as she used to. Still right on him. With each lap, that pass more and more crucial. There is a good chance that she may have been told to let him go. But Dorian Pin really needs a good result. Started the season with 2 DNFs. And just needs anything to try to move forward in the championship. Again, gonna get a good run, but is it enough? She's gonna try looking to the inside, gonna lose that line, and is gonna have to back out of it. Down the front stretch, Van Gisbergen taking a defensive line. Kalamila also going to play a little bit of defense on Chet Jordan, who's all over the back of him. Jordan finished 4th at Sandown, currently looking at 2 back-to-back top 5s. There's still a lot of race left. This Pin sliding through the S's. This is what cost David Malukas, who is not moving forward from where he started. As Shane Van Gisbergen now starting to build a gap on Dorian Pin, and I think those softs are already starting to fall apart. Now it's on Foster to try to jump her, so he doesn't lose too much time. I don't think he's going to be close enough here unless he gets really aggressive. All over the back. Now let's watch as they go down into the S's. See how well he follows. Gonna get a big draft. He's gonna try to go up the inside. Can't quite make it stick, but he's gonna try again in turn 2. Side by side, can Foster hang on? No, he can't. He's gonna be way offline. May pick up a little bit of rubber as Chet Jordan jumps Kalamilot to go into P4. His choice of the hard tires paying off as Kalamilot's softs have worn off, as Pin is desperately trying to hold off teammate Louis Foster for P2. Chet Jordan lurking in the background. He's going to be on the hard tires. So his tires really coming in clutch now. As look at how close he is now. Chet Jordan looking for another top 5. Van Gisbergen getting away on the hards. As Guy Gagné is going to pit already. He wants to get off those. And he's going to be the first guy to try to pit. As Benjamin Peterson has gotten by Connor Zilic. But Zilic is going to try to fight back. Soft tire on soft tire crime as Lindsey Brewer and Brennan Hubbard battle side by side. Hubbard on the mediums, Brewer on the softs. Look at them battle side by side through the S's. Hubbard's going to hang on. Priest is now going to try to attack. When the tires start degrading, you're going to see a little bit of side by side action. Foster all over the back of Pin, really needs to make a move now. As Chet Jordan, he's just going to go right on ahead and nearly force Foster off the track as he gets P3. Chet Jordan, no Fs to give as he's trying to go for P2 now. Looking like a really solid drive so far as Pin is now going to bail out and going to get off these softs early, but is that too early? Eilot going to follow, Leg going to follow, Brewer, Robbie, Rob. A lot of cars just came in. Soft tires were just not to their liking. Guy Gagné now on the hards. I think if you switch to the hards, you can make them last. Dorian Pin, what is she on? He's on the mediums, so that's going to be a bit interesting. We're going to have to see if those can last to the end. I think she should be good on fuel, so fuel should not be a concern. Chet Jordan back by 7.8 seconds from Van Gisbergen as a battle Armstrong going backwards just got passed by Tsunoda and Abel in one turn. On the medium tires and appears to be struggling just a bit. So all the way down to 17th, have not pitted. Dorian Pin, first car who has, and she's going to try to blow by Alessio Deletta in the spoon. And Chet Jordan in pit lane. This is an odd call. This is when his tires are supposed to be at pretty good performance. Zilic, Tsunoda, and Glubler are going to follow. That is quite interesting. Maybe he's trying to undercut. Pin gets by Martz as he comes into pit lane. Gagné got a big boost in time by coming in a lap early. Ethan Martz going to be at the tail end of the field. Van Gisbergen 9.2 seconds on Louis Foster. I think besides something happening, which a yellow flag now could be pretty disastrous. So knock on wood, but it's looking pretty good for Van Gisbergen. Foster in P2, and Van Gisbergen is in, and he's on the hards. That is interesting to see him in this early. And Foster's going to stay out on the mediums. He's going to try to lead a lap, get some bonus points in doing so. Gonna have to see where Van Gisbergen comes out compared to Dorian Pin. Hubbard gonna stay out, Priest gonna stay out, Rowe, Abel, maybe Van Gisbergen doesn't want to risk it on a potential yellow. So he's gonna come out now on the mediums. Here to be a popular choice. As someone has had an off. Gale Barnhart off MVS's. He's gonna get back going. What just happened to him? Was it just, oh, just too much? And he's gonna go around. So nothing too major. That's gonna put him back. Currently running in 11th. And he's right in front of Guy Gagne, who's gonna try to swarm him. Kalamilot also right in the middle of this. This is a cluster. Jet Jordan passes David Malukas for 8th. As he is the best car who's pitted, so he comes out in front of Dorian Pin. Well, besides Van Gisbergen, so Chet Jordan, as of now, in 2nd, and Pin in 3rd, needs to get by David Malukas. So Chet Jordan hanging on to 2nd at the moment. And this is just a cluster back here. Louis Foster does not pit. He's still going to be leading. As Barnhart going to come in. If this is one massive train of cars. Ilott not going to be able to get by, but Catherine Legg going to try to seize the opportunity and dives up the inside of Ilott. A very good move by Catherine Legg. Going to jump ahead of Callum Ilott. Louis Foster still has not pitted. He's going to try to go as long as possible on these mediums now. Maybe try to get most laps led. But yeah, yellow now would be disastrous. Robbie offline as Marcus Armstrong has had an issue in the hairpin. He's going to try to get back going, or as he stalled it now. Oh, that is nearly on the racing line. As David Malukas is also off. A lot of cars going off at the same time. Mahavir is off. Armstrong got back going. I think Mahavir went off trying to avoid Armstrong, but that is a lot of time lost for Marcus Armstrong. Foster still going strong. Brendan Hubbard has not pitted. Ryan Priest has not pitted. So far, Van Gisbergen up by only 2 seconds on Jordan. Catherine Legg has gotten by Alessio Deletta. I think as of now, she's looking at about 5th. Peterson and Glub going back and forth. Callum Ilott losing a lot of time stuck in traffic as everyone else is trying to go by. And Ryan Priest has had enough in another successive race. He's going to get back going and track a lot of dirt onto the track. Ilott not aggressive enough, and he's losing time. Zilich now the next one trying to get around Deletta. I think your top 3 as it stands of those who have not pitted. Van Gisbergen, who is now followed by Jordan closely, as Van Gisbergen struggling to get around Jacob Abel. As Ethan Martz has gone off now. He's going to be okay. Van Gisbergen being chased by Chet Jordan. And Dorian Pin going to join the party, but if these guys get stuck for too long, this is only going to benefit Louis Foster at the front. A lot of strategy going on right now. as Kalamilot still getting swarmed, losing a good amount of time. Connor Zilic really gonna try to go by Alessio Deletta. David Malukas just lost a good amount of tracks time. Louis Foster still chugging along up at the front, has a 21-second lead on Van Gisbergen. I don't think that's enough to hold the lead as of now. I think he's going to need about 30 seconds on him. But we're about halfway through the race. And the question is, did these guys pit too early? Are they going to have to pit again? I think they should be okay fuel-wise, but are they okay tire-wise? As here comes Chet Jordan up the inside for what could be the lead. Van Gisbergen going to try to hold strong, but Chet Jordan, he's going to stay there. Jacob Abel, he's going to really be a deciding factor. Dorian Pin is here as well. Oh, who's going to get there? And Van Gisbergen's going to go off just a little bit and lose 2 spots at once. Chet Jordan and Dorian Pin get through. But who's going to be ahead at the end of this? Foster gaining time on Hubbard, but in gaining a little bit of time on these guys. Chet Jordan, he's going to go for it, and he's going to get around Jacob Abel on his first try. Going to be P4 currently. And I think this guy has slowly but surely emerged himself as the force to win. He has never won on a road course before, but is this when it happens? A good qualifying effort, and just seems to be willing to get his elbows out when other people won't. As Alessio Deletta is off the track. He's going to get back on, but once again track a bunch of dirt and debris. And that's the risk with going longer on the tires. They're going to struggle a lot more. So Foster, we're going to have to see how much longer he can hang on as Chet Jordan goes by Miles Rowe. And Van Gisbergen going to go up the inside of Dorian Pin and be back into what could be second place. Foster still continues to go, and this is starting to get very risky. How long is he going to be able to hang on to these old tires? Especially as Chet Jordan is now gaining time. As Chet Jordan is getting away, these guys still stuck behind Jacob Abel. This is a lot of time being lost. Does it come down to strategy once again to hurt the Swindlers as Van Gisbergen all over the place? Van Gisbergen, a win here could put him into the points lead, but Robbie's having a pretty solid day. Yes, it's 13th as of now, but a lot of cars in front of him still need to pit. But he's really got to get around David Malukas now. Alessio Deletta has cleared himself out of the way. Coming to 10 laps to go this time and still has not gotten by. As Van Gisbergen and Pin both get by Jacob Abel now. So they're now going to have room to push. But Miles Rowe still up the road in currently P4. As Chet Jordan has caught Brennan Hubbard, he may try to go in turn 1. I think Foster is trying to end on soft tires. As look at how far to the inside Hubbard's willing to go to defend. That is a really unusual line, and that's going to hurt Chet Jordan, who's basically, as of now, the race leader. He's really got to get by Hubbard soon. Try to take off as Yuki Tsunoda pits. I can't tell if he's pit already. I feel like he has. So this may have been a mistake for Eventide. Tsunoda gonna be at the back of the field. I feel like he had pit before. If he hadn't, then he hadn't. But Foster in now. We're gonna have to see where he comes out. All the while, Hubbard and Jordan still battling, and Brendan Hubbard's being a lot more stubborn as Armstrong is off at Degner. He's gonna get back going. While Foster is in pit lane, Hubbard pits, and Jordan is going to go to the lead. Miles Rowe in the way still of these guys. Foster going to come out behind them. I think your battle for the podium is going to be between the Swindlers as Chet Jordan has clear road ahead. Priest pits now. Callum Ilott trying to get by Robbie, and Ilott will get it as Van Gisbergen really battling Dorian Pin for currently second. Three-second lead for Chet Jordan now. Up 4 spots from where he started. He qualified in 7th. This would be a good drive if he can throw it together, but Swindlers of the Immortals all lined up, and Foster is probably the fastest, but right now marred by his teammates and Miles Rowe. But Chet Jordan just needs to keep it clean, and he could get his first road course win and his third for Silly Men Racing and his 5th career. James Van Gisbergen also trying to chase down his 5th as Miles Rowe will finally pull off. I think only a couple cars have not pitted now. I think David Malukas is the only one that I can't think of that's pit, as Jacob Abel's also in. So Guy Gagné gonna be in 5th. Connor Zilic 6th. Catherine Legg gonna be in 7th. 8th is going to be Brennan Hubbard. Good drive for him. 9th. Once Malukas pits, it's going to be Robbie, and then 10th is going to be Callum Ilott, who lost a lot of time in that pit sequence battling these lapped cars. But you still got to keep it clean as Alessio Deletta is pitting again for some reason. Or no, he hasn't pitted yet. He just spun out, and I forgot. I could have sworn he pit. Commentator with dementia, Marcus Armstrong, he's currently in last, but his teammate Chet Jordan is in 1st. Teammate Marcus Armstrong could be a bit of a problem as Ethan Martz has gone off track again. He's going to be fine and get back going. No full course yellows, just a lot of off-track excursions. As Chet Jordan is going to pit. Oh no, is this a blunder? Chet Jordan has to pit at the end. Oh no. As Foster is going to try to go by Dorian Pin. Can't quite get there. Gagné has to pit. Oh my god, did these guys not... Were they not able to make it? Chet Jordan's going to come back out. But did he push too much? Trying to get ahead. And he's going to come out P7. Miles Rowe P8 after pitting. So he actually did really well. But Gagné, he's going to lose a lot of time and going to be stuck behind these guys. as Shane Van Gisbergen may have possibly just been gifted the win if he is able to actually make it to the end. He only pit one lap before, no, one lap after Chet Jordan. So can he make it? This is the question now. I think Foster obviously is capable. Can Pitt and Van Gisbergen make it? Pin pitted sooner. I think Chet Jordan may have just been too aggressive on his tires, and they had to bring him in. And that's gonna sting. Van Gisbergen does not need to come in this time. Pin and Foster still gonna be battling. Pin no race finishes this season. Desperately needs one. As a driver, I'm really impressed with Miles Rowe. Biggest mover, up 7 spots. We didn't even catch on to it. He put himself in some really good spots, and I think this is a good drive. As Callum Ilott has to pit, Lindsey Brewer in as well, and now it's just who's able to make it, as many cars aren't able to push too hard. Callum Ilott, we know, came in early, and he's going to give up so many positions. A top 10 just went out of his hands. Now he's hanging on to a top 20. But you know, that's just how it is. You have to be careful, as we really need to watch to see, can the leaders make it? You lose about 25 seconds as Chet Jordan gets by Catherine Legg. Chet Jordan still on a tear, trying to get back into the top 5. He needs to get by Hubbard though. But this one's gonna sting. Pin is in. Pin cannot make it and will have to pit. She should stay in the top 10, but is going to lose time. Oh man, who's able to make it? Zilich isn't. He's coming in now. Catherine Legg cannot make it. Foster, what tires is he on? He's on mediums. I think he's going to be able to make it, surely. But Pin, Zilich, Legg all come in. A 1 or 2 stop strategy does not pay off for these guys. Connor Zilich going to just barely stay in the top 10 if he can get ahead of these guys. And he's got ahead. Catherine Legg drops to 18th. That was a good result in the making. But it's not going to stick. As Foster, 1.5 seconds back on Van Gisbergen. He should have the best tires. But can Van Gisbergen even make it to the end? Considering everyone around him. This isn't so solid, as Chet Jordan now back onto the podium. Hopefully he doesn't have to pit a 3rd time. That would be rough. Van Gisbergen, he's going to stay out, but Louis Foster is closing in. Foster, no race wins. This is his first full-time season. Texas did not go how he wanted, but Sandown brought it home in P5. And now he is simply 2 tenths off of Van Gisbergen. Can he bring it home? He should not have to pit again, but really neither should Van Gisbergen. Zilich gets P9, as never mind, Peterson takes it back. Never mind, Zilich has it again, as Robbie has to pit from 7th, and that's gonna hurt. Stingray also has to pit, and the cars that are going longer are benefiting in the end, it seems. But here we go. Foster could try a dive bomb going into the spoon. Is he there? Van Gisbergen going to take a defensive line. And it's going to be a battle all the way to the end now. 1/10 back. He's not going to pop now. Van Gisbergen does not have to pit this time. Foster's really going to have to be aggressive here. Nothing's going to help him out besides just pure aggression. But Van Gisbergen is hanging on. Priest jumps Jacob Abel for P10. Sorry, P9. Ryan Priest now up to 8th now. Seemingly has some speed in that 64. As can Foster try a dive bomb going into the spoon. This seems to be a very good passing opportunity. Is he gonna try it? I just think simply he has to at this point. He's in the draft, but he's not gonna go for it. But how many opportunities are there left? I think he's gonna really have to start putting himself on the line now. Down into turn 1, he's gonna try. Is he gonna get there? Van Gisbergen gonna have the outside, but Foster gonna have the line and is just gonna take it away quite easily. With 2 laps to go, new leader Louis Foster. As Van Gisbergen, he's not gonna have a response on these old tires. He's barely making it to the end and almost spins out in the S's by himself. If he has to pit, he may drop down to about 7th, 8th. Guy Gagné will pass Mahavir for 12th. Still a lot of battling going on, trying to get these placements. Already, Foster up to a 3-second lead as Van Gisbergen is desperately struggling. Those tires are absolutely cooked. Your biggest mover, Miles Rowe, up 10 spots. Catherine Legg gets Gail Barnhart for 14th. Not going to be much if she can't bring it back to a top 10 or something. Last lap, Louis Foster already up to a 5-second lead. This guy's just pulling away. Dorian Pin will try to battle Miles Rowe through the chicane. Pin gonna be on the soft tires, was not able to make it to the end. Rowe still hanging on, but Pin's gonna stay ahead. With only Brennan Hubbard ahead. Louis Foster already up to a 6-second lead. This is absolutely incredible driving. And just making him go that long pays off in the end, as no one else can do it like he did. Into the spoon for the final time. Now down the backstretch. I think he's trying to go for the fastest lap on the last lap. But through the chicane one final time. And it's going to be Louis Foster who gets the win at the Japanese Grand Prix, and it's going to be his first win. Foster gets P1. Swindlers of the Immortals will take a 1-2 with Van Gisbergen in second. And Chet Jordan, what looked to be a possible win, he'll only be P3. As Hubbard is going to hang on to a P4. It's quite shocking. With Pin 5th, Rowe 6th, Zilich 7th. Ryan Priest going to hang on to 8th. Peterson and Abel battling for 9th, and it's going to come down to here. Abel not able to get there, so Peterson will take P9. Catherine Legg trying to rally, going to be P11 with a couple passes right at the end. You're seeing some unofficial results scrolling across the top. Just absolutely an incredible drive. I didn't think it was going to shake out the way it did, but he whispered to those tires and got them to the end, and they did what he said. And just absolutely everything to be proud of out of that team. Biggest movers, Miles Rowe up 9, Jacob Abel up 9. Jacob Abel, another bad qualifying effort, all things considered, but a good race result. And then Miles Rowe, that's pretty impressive. I'm not gonna lie. So let's take a look at your final results so far. Shortest race of the season at just under 40 minutes. Louis Foster gonna get it done 8.5 seconds over Van Gisbergen. And mind you, he only took the lead with 2 laps to go. So that's pretty damn impressive. Chet Jordan gonna be P3. Not at all what he wanted, but considering just the pace Foster had, that may have been difficult to hold on to in the first place. Brendan Hubbard, he's going to take P4. That's pretty good. I didn't expect him to do that well once again. Glubler seems to be running out of fuel on the last lap. P5, Dorian Pin, not what she wanted, but finally a race finish. Miles Rowe will take P6, and biggest mover Connor Zilich P7 also finally gets a race result. Ryan Priest gets what he wants, a top 10, will take P8. Benjamin Peterson in 9th, and then Jacob Abel, 3 straight top 10s, he'll finish 10th. Catherine Legg, 1 worse than what she did at Sandown, will finish 11th. Guy Gagne will just finish outside the top 10 in 12th. Glubler will finish 13th in his best result of the season, or I believe tied for his best result. 14th, Mahavir Raghunathan, in a pretty quiet drive. Gail Barnhart had some incidents, but he'll finish 15th. Callum Ilott, not at all where he wanted to finish. He'll be down in 16th. Sonoda, his home Grand Prix, not what he wanted. He'll be 17th. Second in points coming into this race, David Malukas will finish 18th. Luckily, was able to keep it on the track this time. Lindsey Brewer 19th, also not what she wanted. Robbie Lord will take 20th, and that is your points leader coming into this race. So maybe there's a points leader's curse with Sonoda and Robbie not following up after they take the points lead. Stingray Rob, another rough result, will be 21st. 22nd, Alessio Deletta had some off tracks. Ethan Martz started 23rd, will finish 23rd. And then Marcus Armstrong, really tough day for that 30-30 team. As those are your final results, it was a pretty interesting race to see play out. Up next, it's our last international race for a good while. It's the Spanish Grand Prix at Aragon. Qualifying will be on Tuesday, race will be on Wednesday, another 25 lapper, and I hope to see you guys there. as this championship is only getting started. So hopefully I'll see you guys around.